Good morning, this is Penny Ferguson, a living leader. Well, it's amazing the weather at the moment. I've just been for a walk with my dogs this morning and I found it really interesting. There was 2 or 3 very small beech trees and the leaves were still on them from last year. They were this beautiful pale golden. And I thought, wow, how come they haven't all fallen off? And they were still there and I thought, now this is going to be interesting because spring's coming. Because I also saw lots of branches where you just have the catkins are coming through, you can see buds beginning to form. And I thought, wow, what's going to happen here? It's going to be the new pushing out the old. And I thought, oh goodness, I wonder if I'm like one of those trees still holding on, even though I'm getting really quite ancient. I don't know, but it made me giggle when I thought about it. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to really talk about today. I wouldn't have come on today because I've got a webinar tomorrow that I hope many of you are going to join. But I thought it would be a good idea to come on just to give you a bit of an insight about the person that I'm going to be having a conversation with tomorrow. It's one of the things that I've discovered over the years is that all the people I've been working with in the last 30 years, I have unquestionably learnt as much from them as they've learnt from me. I may have been teaching leadership, but they taught me about leadership. They gave me living, breathing examples of what leadership's all about. And one of the things I've realised over the years is that the absolutely best thing to do is always look to see what you can learn from each person in each and every moment. I mean, I look back, and it doesn't matter what age they are. It doesn't matter if they're very young or if they're older, or it doesn't matter. I look back and think how I brought up my children. As many of you know, I didn't know what I know now, so I probably didn't do a very good job. But I loved them, and I did the best that I could with the information and the knowledge I had at the time. But you know, I didn't think that I could learn anything from them. My role in life was to keep teaching them how to grow up in this world and how to be amazing human beings and all of this good stuff. And I didn't really look at them and think, what can I learn from them? And yet when my grandchildren come and stay now, there's always things that they teach me about the way to behave, the way to communicate, how important it is to really listen to them. There's all sorts of things that I learned from them that I hadn't appreciated in the past. Now, the person that I'm going to be talking to tomorrow, his name's Chris Weston. He's not on social media. He doesn't like social media. So if any of you tried to look him up on LinkedIn, you wouldn't have found him there. I would put him as probably 4 people I rate as the very best leaders I've ever come across. They are exceptional in different ways, although there's a lot of similarities. And I met Chris, and I was trying to think about it. It's probably about 25 years ago. And at the time, he was managing director of British Gas Business, which was a lot smaller than it is today. And working with him, I realised how much I was learning from him. And seeing him develop over the years to being one of the most incredible leaders ever. So much so that wherever he goes in whatever company, there are some people he only has to pick up the phone and say, would you like to come and work for me? And it doesn't matter what job they're in, they'll leave it to go and work with him. And they never really want to work with anybody else. He is exceptional. And I'm going to get him to share a little bit of his journey and his story tomorrow. I can't recommend highly enough that you sign up to come and join us at lunchtime. I'll be on with him for about an hour. It's just a conversation with him, and I'll think of any tricky questions I can ask him to give some insights and ideas. And if any of you have questions that you'd like to ask, please send them in ahead of time, or alternatively, you know, type them up when we're actually on the webinar. I'll do my best. I might have to put my glasses on to peer the questions, but I'll do my best to ask him the questions so that he can share what it is in his journey that's made him so successful in any company he's been into. So I really do recommend that you consider it. He is exceptional. I'd say he's a gentle soul. I'm not sure quite that's how I'd probably describe him, but he is a very special guy. So he will share with you his journey, and he will be available to ask any questions about anything, ideally about what it is that makes him so successful, how it is he works with people, how he pulls a team together in an exceptional way, how he has the guts to make sometimes really difficult decisions, and the values that he lives by. So I do recommend that you think about it and just recognize, ask yourself the question. I'd like you to ask yourself a question all of this week, if you can. If I knew that I can learn something from everybody that I meet this week, what do I think I could learn from them? And you would be amazed at what you can learn from people. In some instances, it could be a way of learning. I will never demonstrate those behaviors, but I wonder if I ever do inadvertently without being aware of it. You know, there's things that you could learn all the time. So think about that question. If I knew that I can learn something from everybody I meet this week, what do you think I might be learning here? And you may surprise yourself. You could surprise yourself, and it doesn't matter what age they are. They could be a bit ancient like me. They could be very young. But believe me, you may be amazed, because recognize one thing. I don't have any qualifications and I've never worked in a business. But I teach some pretty senior leaders in business how to lead. Crazy. And yet my journey has been all about learning from them as much as me sharing my thoughts and ideas with them. So there's my thought for you for today, and my recommendation that you sign up for tomorrow. Don't worry if you can't actually be on with us at 1 o'clock, because if you signed up, you can get the recording anyway. And we probably will share it on LinkedIn anyway, so you can see it afterwards. But there's nothing quite about like seeing it live. So I hope that I am able to join many of you tomorrow. Have a wonderful week. This is Penny Ferguson, Living Leader.